Aloha and welcome to Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We are broadcasting live from the Pioneer Plaza in downtown Honolulu in the very high-tech ThinkTech studios. We are also broadcasting live on livestream.com, so you can tune in every Thursday at 2 o'clock on livestream.com and tune into the ThinkTech channel, and we'll be there. The theme of the Business in Hawaii show is positive stories about businesses in Hawaii. And we do have one of those today. But before we jump into our guest, I just wanted to make an announcement that I have started my own firm, relaunched a firm that I started 24 years ago, Reg Baker and Company, full service CPA and advisory firm. And we're very excited about getting back into the business again and servicing the needs for the small and mid-sized business market and the owners of those businesses. So we're looking forward to reconnecting with everybody that we have known in the past, and it's exciting times for us. But enough of that. Let's get into our guest today. We've got Jamie Brown, who's one of the prominent, if not the prominent, commercial broker in downtown Honolulu. Welcome, Jamie.
Thanks for having me on the show, Reg.
It's good to have you. Now, you've been in the business for quite a while, haven't you?
Yep, since 1991.
91?
Yeah, I started in 91.
Actually, you and I started our firms at about the same time then.
Well, actually, I started with what was Collier's back then, and I started our firm in 2002. So going on 14 years.
And you, you grew up and you just jumped right into the commercial real estate market, or did you do something before that?
Well, I grew up on the East Coast, Connecticut, went to school there, got an engineering degree, and was working in Boston for General Electric's jet engine division.
Wow.
So I'm a real-life jet engineer.
Is that almost the same thing as a rocket science?
Sorta. It was actually the coolest. Being an engineer, working for the jet engine company was one of the coolest jobs ever. I mean, for a mechanical engineer, it has everything. It's got heat and high velocity and materials and controls, and it was really cool. So, but what happened was I was a sailboat racer, and I got obsessed with windsurfing.
They don't have jet engines on sailboats, I don't think.
I know, I couldn't make that. I couldn't make the boats go fast enough. So, so I wanted to go faster, and I got obsessed with windsurfing in the 1980s, and sort of threw it all away and came out here. And
so you came from Boston and came to Honolulu.
Yep.
Big jump.
It was. There's been sort of three big epiphanies in my life, sort of those aha moments, and one of them was in the late 80s. I was down in Rhode Island. I'd snuck out from my engineering job to go windsurfing in Newport, Rhode Island, and it was in like April, and it was really windy. I was at the beach. It was windy and cold, and I'll never forget it. I was sitting in my car, and I thought, this is ridiculous. I need to go somewhere where I can do this sport on my time rather than on the wind's time. And right then and there, I decided to move here. I didn't know anybody, didn't have a job, no family or anything, and I just
that must have been a big jump, because I have not heard of any jet engine manufacturers here in Hawaii. So when you moved out here, what did you do?
Well, I got here not really knowing whether this was going to be a temporary thing or not. And after I got here, I decided I loved it, and there weren't a lot of opportunities for. I have a master's in industrial engineering and software engineering from Northeastern, which is after getting my BS in mechanical from Yale, and with those kind of qualifications, as you can imagine, there wasn't a lot of application for them, and it was sort of. And I decided I wanted to be here, and there was my second epiphany of my life was. I picked up a book that had just been published by the University of Hawaii called Land and Power in Hawaii. And I don't think I read the book, but I saw the title, and I read the back of the book and the jacket covers, and I said, all right, well, if I want to stay here, there's how I'm going to do it. And so it was be involved with real estate somehow, and I didn't want to sell houses, and I had met a friend who worked at what was to be Collier's, and he was doing really well, and sort of one thing led to another, and here I am almost 30 years later.
Very good. And so what did you do at Colliers? What was the nature of your work there?
Well, I started originally in leasing and selling retail properties, and they had a need for someone to focus on office properties. So after a couple of years of doing retail leasing and sales, they asked me to be an office leasing and sales agent, and then I sort of rose through the ranks and ran the office properties division for Colliers. And then in 2002, left for multiple reasons. Was a one-man show initially, doing downtown office leasing, and we've grown to where we are now.
Very good. And now with your own firm, are you still focused on the office properties?
Well, the cool thing is we're full service, broad. We cover everything commercial. So we do, office properties, retail properties, industrial properties. We've been involved with quite a number of hotel property sales. We do property management. So we've grown from, one guy doing office leasing to a group of nine sales agents that do leasing sales in those various categories, a property manager, support staff.
But, and I guess I'm intrigued by your career change. I mean, you've gone from a very high-tech type of environment into one that was maybe significantly different from what you had done before. How did you make that transition? I mean, did you have to take additional classes? I know you had to get some licenses. I mean, how difficult was that process?
What's that saying? Necessity's the mother of invention, or reinvention, maybe. So really, it was looking at my alternatives, employment alternatives or career alternatives in Hawaii, and realizing it had to be in sales. And then I saw the book; it was real estate, and so I didn't take any extra classes, but I did. I really immersed myself. I'll never forget. I remember saying I have to learn to love calling myself a salesman, which being an engineer, salespeople really wasn't a title that I had initially aspired to. But now I love being a salesman because, hey, I could sell anything, whether it's real estate or cars or shoes or snow cones to Eskimos. I'll do that.
And that's great. I love to hear you say that because CPAs have that same type of brand that they don't get very creative. They don't know how to sell. But I think in a sense, and tell me if I'm wrong, but don't we all sell in some form or fashion? I mean, we all have to be selling ourselves to, our employer, our boss, our customers, our clients, even our children and our spouses. I mean, we're out there trying to, sell something or convince people to do something that they, don't inherently want to do. And that's all part of the sales approach, is it not?
We're all selling something all day, every day, whether we think of ourselves as salespeople or not. I mean, and so once I kind of realized that, I said, hey, I'm providing a valuable service. I mean, it wouldn't be valuable if people didn't hire us, didn't pay us for it. So clearly, people want what we provide. And it's cool because we get to meet all sorts of different people, different personalities, different situations. Our job is great because sometimes we're behind a desk, sometimes we're touring properties, sometimes we're driving to properties and doing property tours by car. Sometimes you're even doing property tours by helicopter. And you start the day and you never know what it's going to bring.
Now, this is very interesting. And in our second segment, we're going to get a little bit more into detail on the nuts and bolts of your business and what you're doing and how that's all working. But let's shift a little bit. You originally came to Hawaii to windsurf.
Yep.
And that was a passion. Is it still a passion?
You bet. It's and for those of you who wonder, windsurfing is still a great sport. There's still a lot of us who do it, but including my son. Now, my son, who's 17 now, there's a couple of kids who windsurf where I windsurf. If there's wind, in fact, we might go after work today if there's any surf. there's plenty of wind, but we're hoping there's a little south swell. But still doing it, and it's one of the reasons why, you know, I've chosen to stay in Hawaii and you know, pay the price of paradise to be here, and you know, still doing that and love the sport.
Very good. And now your son is getting pretty good?
He's excellent. He's better than I am.
I was just
I'm
gonna
learning from
ask.
him.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys race and do things out there?
Well,
and-
we're surfing as opposed to, you know, going fast is important, but it's riding waves like a surfer would. So he's working on a few moves that I can't quite get. He's a little better than me on aerials and.
So he gets some airtime.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And we've got another good friend of ours. He's got a son out there too, who's, I think he's about to turn 11, and these two kids just tear it up. It's great to watch.
And so what's Dad doing? Kind of like laying back and
No,
watching?
Dad's going. They tease me. I have my signature move is the suicide aerials.
Crash and burn?
Yeah, where get as much air as you can and hope you can land it, and a lot of times I don't. And they're like, Dad, why did you do that? I was trying.
Well, but that's kind of a theme, though, I guess, as an entrepreneur and a business person, is you got to keep trying. You got to keep going
Yeah.
for it. And maybe you will crash and burn a couple times, but you just don't give up.
Well, what is eagles get their prey, 1 out of 10 plus attempts. So you got to, if you're going to be successful, I think at anything, you've got to try. And the guy who wins, who succeeds in anything in life, is the guy, not the guy who's necessarily better than the other person. It's the guy who gets up after he gets knocked down, and not the first time, but the second time or the third time, or maybe it's the 10th time. That's the guy who wins the race.
No, that's a very good point, I think. And it doesn't matter how old or how young you are. It's the matter of the attitude.
Yeah.
You know, no, that's good. That's an important message for, I think, everybody to know.
Yeah. Well, hey, I actually I didn't give you on my bio one of my too many hobbies or habits or obsessions is guitar playing, singing and playing guitar. And I had never picked up a guitar until about 6 years ago. So without giving away my age, I was late 40s and had no sense of rhythm. In fact, I was kind of the family member that they made jokes about with no sense of rhythm. But I actually play gigs around town sometimes. But that was that was not talent. That was
actually,
lots of.
no, Jamie,
that was just,
I've heard you. The coffee shop over the Grosvenor Center.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I heard you.
Yeah.
No, matter of fact, I think I put some money in your jar, but.
But that was, doing it over and over and over again and trying hard.
With
and
just 6
not-
years, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's good. So, I get this image of you out on the beach, windsurfing, guitar, playing songs in front of a bonfire. I mean, that's the picture of a beach boy type of activity, but yet you're rocket science. I think that's so neat. It's good to see that, you can change careers and be successful and do these things that you've got a passion for. And it's the only thing that holds you back is what's up here.
Yeah.
And that's a great message. Very good. I think we're gonna have to break for a few minutes.
Okay.
Actually for just 1 minute. But we will be right back. Thank you very much. This is Reg Baker, Business in Hawaii, and I'm here with Jamie Brown, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Hi, I'm Jay Fidel. That's Ted Ralston. Ted is the host of Where the Road Leads. It shows every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. It's about technology. It's about how people collaborating and solve problems with modern technology. It's where the road leads. We all know that. We should all be listening. Join us there, 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday. Now, what about that do you agree with?
All of it.
I knew he'd say that. Aloha. Say aloha.
Aloha.
Good.
Hi, my name's Cindy Matsuki, and I host the show High Growth with HTDC on ThinkTech Hawaii. This is the show where we talk about all things tech, innovation, entrepreneurship, and manufacturing, because there's so many things going on in Hawaii and more people should know about them. So this is the program that you can come and find out about all the things happening in Hawaii. And this show also airs on Olelo 54 along with ThinkTech Hawaii. And it broadcasts live every other Tuesday at 3 p.m. So don't forget, check out the show Tuesday, 3 p.m. every other week. High Growth with HTDC. Thanks.
Welcome back. This is Reg Baker, Business in Hawaii, and I'm interviewing Jamie Brown, one of the top commercial brokers in downtown Honolulu. And actually, it's beginning to sound like you've got a footprint that expands beyond just downtown. So your business covers a lot of different geographical areas, don't it?
Geographic and product type. So we have, as I mentioned, there's nine brokers or sales agents. We do just commercial real estate, and we do office leasing. Sometimes we represent the landlord looking for tenants, or sometimes we represent tenants where they hire us to find them the best space or the best deal for their space. And we do that in office. We do that in retail. We just some of our guys we put in a great new restaurant at Royal Hawaiian Shopping Center, Noise, N-O-I, Thai cuisine. They have several places in the Pacific Northwest, excellent Thai food, and they have the greatest presentation. You got to go there just for the presentation. They've hired chefs just from Thailand that come and carve fruits and vegetables in swans and dragons. So when you order your meal, it'll come out with almost this work of art.
Wow.
So we've done that.
This is in the Royal Hawaiian Shopping Center?
Royal Hawaiian Shopping Center. We did
First
that
floor,
deal.
second floor?
It's where I think it's the second floor where Five Star Gourmet was.
Mm-hmm.
And we have just done a deal with some people might know Sweet Home Cafe. The founders of that sold that, and they are now doing Sweet Home Auntie on Young Street. And the reason I knew this was important was I knew my daughter liked this, so I texted my daughter. She's at University of Oregon, and I get this text back that says, "OMG, Dad, you've got to find them a space. They're the best ever."
Wow.
So I showed that to the landlord, and when we brought in the offer to lease the space, and the landlord said, "Well, I guess we better lease to this tenant." So that, industrial buildings, we've sold all kinds of things like downtown office buildings, the Waikiki Beach Marriott, Four Seasons Wailea. We sold 14,000 acres on the Big Island. We sold the King Kamehameha Kona Beach Hotel. So we've done a lot of stuff.
So you not only do the leasing, but you're also doing the selling too.
Yep,
And then you could also represent people on buying side.
that's right. We've represented owners that have wanted to buy space to use, or investors that wanted to buy space for an investment, or buy property for investment.
Do you get very many properties that would be a good investment opportunity for maybe more than one buyer? Like put together a partnership and get different people involved?
We haven't been doing much of that, which is syndication, but it's more, we'll find a property and we'll go to market and sort of set up almost an auction scenario where we get a number of bidders that bid on that property and find the one who's going to pay the most money for it.
Very good. Do you work with the owners of the property to kind of, in the residential market, they call it staging? I mean, do you work with them to prep the property and get it set up for sale?
Absolutely. I mean, that's important. First impression is all you get, right? In property sales or in a job application, right? So.
Right. Well, and there's not only the first impression and the image of the property, but I think sometimes there's also the financials that back that property up, that add to the value of the property. And so sometimes, maybe working with a prospective owner, they need some guidance in how to maximize the value of the property.
Well, I think that's one of the things that attracted me to commercial real estate in the first place, being the engineer that I guess I still am, is that it's much more analytical. So spreadsheets and financial pro formas. And actually, you did ask about education, as I do value education. I do I earned the CCIM designation, which is sort of known as the PhD of commercial real estate.
And what does CCIM stand for?
Stands for Certified Commercial Investment Member. But it's a, to earn the designation, you have to take a number of very long and difficult courses on commercial real estate. A lot of it's valuation, it's putting together pro formas, analyzing property investment characteristics, things like that. And then you have to put together essentially a resume of transactions to prove that you know what you're doing. And then that allowed me to get invited to and become a member of another organization called SIOR, which the only way you can get into that is you need a referral to get in, and then you need significant proven commercial transactions to get into that.
So experience.
Experience, yeah.
Very good.
And so what we also do is we do property management. So that's where we work with property owners to maximize the revenue out of their particular property, given whatever their objectives are. So, and it's everything from our property manager having to get toilets fixed to putting in a new air conditioning system that might be more energy efficient, or a photovoltaic system on the roof to improve the financial performance. So it's all really, really, really cool stuff. It's not quite jet engines, but it's close.
Well, but it also creates a big network for you, because you got to know a lot of different people, a lot of vendors that can come in and support your property management activities to keep things running and make those improvements.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be valuable just by itself.
Well, and you need someone to sort through the vendor proposals. So we get some interesting proposals, and then we try to, put them through the sifter and see what's the right solution.
That's good. It's nice to have that inventory of people that you can rely on and you can turn to when you need them.
Yeah.
Because things break sometimes unexpectedly.
You bet.
Yeah.
In our properties or in our businesses, I've got a great staff who, so on our staff we have a woman who's a graphic artist to do marketing materials. So when you think about what would we need in a business, we're a sales organization. We have to do custom sales materials for everything we do, whether it's we're leasing a space or we're selling a space or we're pitching for business. So we have our on-staff graphic artist, and she's also really sharp with computers, as our admin person is. So we actually are very self-sufficient as it goes with IT.
Very good.
And,
Well, and you've got that engineering. Now, you mentioned something about programming, or your background?
Yeah, well, I was a software engineer. My master's thesis was on artificial intelligence for inventory control systems. I actually wrote an inventory control system for an automated manufacturing facility at General Electric at the jet engine division.
I don't know, the more we talk, the more geekish you become. You've got some pretty impressive credentials, but I still have this image of the beach boy with the guitar and singing out on the beach. So, but it's really fun to hear how you can have that balance in your life, and to be able to do both of these things. It's exciting. I think it's good for everybody to know that this is a possibility. That if and I guess that's part of the allure of living here in Hawaii.
Yeah, we were, as we were talking at lunch, there's that balance is an important word, but, and sometimes it's a balance between balance and imbalance. So I believe to be successful at almost anything, you almost have to get out of balance. You almost have to go into something with an obsession to get to a point where you're proficient at it. And that can throw you out of balance in life, the other things in your life. Mm-hmm, so it's that juggling act between, say, when I decided to pick up guitar, carving enough time out of my day to become good at that while not losing enough focus on my business or on my family or on my windsurfing or canoe paddling or whatever it was. So I guess we're always on that tightrope, aren't we?
We are, and I heard that a definition of a successful business person or a successful entrepreneur is a maniac on a mission.
Yeah.
And you've got to have that focus. And that focus doesn't have to be business. I mean, it could be windsurfing, it could be guitar playing, it could be commercial real estate. But in order to be successful, you got to have a little bit of that maniac on a mission tendency for it to really work. And it sounds like you've mastered that, but at the same time, you've been able to create that balance where you're having fun with your son, you're out doing what you really love to do, and you've got that balance. Now, I have heard, I think you shared with me at lunch, you also have a wife in the mix here somewhere too, so there's got to be some passion there, right?
You bet. And that was my third epiphany. There's 3 epiphanies in my life that got me to where I am today. The first was in the car in Newport, Rhode Island, when I decided I was moving to Hawaii for windsurfing. And the second was the Land and Power book. And the third, I mean, this is true. I went to a wedding reception in 1990, and met this local girl. And if you saw the movie DeLovely, there's a scene there where these 2 people meet and they sort of lock eyes, and everything in the background and the sound and all the visuals blur. Kind of that's what it was when I met my wife at this party. And there was all these people around us, and they all kind of disappeared. So, and she's a local girl, mixed girl, Hawaiian, Chinese, Irish, French, Japanese, and so with her came, another connection to being here, a local family.
And is she into the water sports like you are, or?
No, not really. She's turned into kind of a yogi these days. She's heavy into yoga.
Oh, okay. That's a new word. You just educated me.
She's a yogi, yes, an obsessed yoga person.
Oh, but that's still athletic.
Absolutely. I've gone with her to her son yoga in Aina Haina, and I had to do everything I could to pretend like it wasn't killing me. She asked me, "So how was it?" It was fine. I almost died of heat exhaustion, and they have these infrared lights on. It's just.
Oh, is this hot yoga?
It's hot yoga.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so you're on the floor and you're looking out of the corner of your eye. Occasionally the instructor would open the door to let air in, and I'd see the door and I'd be like, okay, I can make it for another 2 minutes.
And the temperature gets pretty high in there, doesn't it?
It's hot.
Yeah. I've heard that it can go up over 100 degrees.
It's hot.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and my wife does, she was a registered nurse when I met her, and she's been involved in doing financing for us, arranging loans, commercial loans, residential loans.
Oh, so she's involved with the business too then.
She is, and yes, she is.
Very good. Well, we're going to take another short break, and we're going to come back and continue this conversation, and we're going to ask to pick your brain a little bit as to where the industry and maybe your business is headed in the next few years. So this is Reg Baker. This is Business in Hawaii. We're interviewing Jamie Brown today, and we'll be right back in about a minute. Thank you.
Aloha, I'm Kirsten Baumgart-Turner, and I host Sustainable Hawaii every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon.
Almost
My
done.
guests offer insights
had to
on
get your
challenging
wife in.
economic and environmental issues facing our state and offer innovative solutions to increasing Hawaii's long-term sustainability. Recently, we've been focusing on sustainable land development, food, and energy security. If you have a project or issue you'd like to discuss on the show or would like to be a guest, please contact me at kirstenbturner@gmail.com and tune in live weekly or view the show at your convenience at thinktechhawaii.com. Mahalo.
Aloha! How you doing? It's me, Angus McTech, wishing you to welcome and join us to see us on Hibachi Talk on ThinkTech Hawaii. Join my co-hosts, Gordo the Tech Czar and Andrew the Security Guy, every Friday from 1300 to 1345. We look forward to see you. We'll talk tech and we'll have some wee bit of fun. And remember, let your wing gang free wherever you be. Aloha!
Hawaii. I'm here with Jamie Brown, and we're talking about his business and the commercial real estate market here in Honolulu. Jamie, we were just getting into talking a little bit about your wife and how she's involved with the business, and I guess she's got a financial mind and she handles some of those financial transactions for you?
She does. Well, yep. She's quite the creator. We built a house from scratch up in Wailaiki several years ago, and so she's most happy and most at home when she's working on projects where she gets to create things. So she helped a client actually sell it was a residential property, and staging the house for sale was a huge deal. She's got a partner who's got some properties in Vegas that they rent out on long and short-term rentals, and so she basically put those houses together. And she's got another project with a developer that's looking at doing a high-end home development in Honolulu, and so she's which I don't want to use anyways, the analogy of a pig in, she's not a pig in.
Maybe we should change
yeah.
the subject to...
She's a kid in a candy shop. There's
go.
the analogy I was looking for, helping build high-end houses.
She's got this creative streak
Yes.
with her, and she likes to work with it and develop it, and it sounds like creativity lies in both of your DNA. I mean, you like the music, you like the surfing, putting together the presentations to sell the property. And she likes to do her side on the staging and I guess interior design almost.
Yeah.
You know, now you've also got a daughter you mentioned that's going to school on the mainland.
Right. She's finishing up at University of Oregon, and since 5 years old, she's been saying she wants to be a physician. So she's
Wow.
not finished school yet.
Let me see. That's going to be another 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, my working horizon is quite a bit.
Your plans
longer.
for retirement has just been extended.
Yeah.
Very good.
So I'm super proud of her. She reminds me of myself where I don't think I'm necessarily the smartest guy in the room, but I'll work harder than everybody else in the room if that's what it's required to succeed, and that's my daughter. So I'm very proud of her. She doesn't seem to let anything stop her.
Now, does she get into the water at all? I know Oregon's got some cold water up there, but...
She's a dancer, so she's not an ocean.
Okay. Very good.
My son is, the apple has fallen close to the tree with my son. So he's a phenomenal outrigger canoe paddler, windsurfer, surfer. He's also a spear fisherman. And this is a kid who in kindergarten was at the kindergarten pool parties, was the one hanging onto the edge of the pool because he was scared of the water. And now, he's out there.
You can't get him out of it.
And he's in big ocean. He's almost got a gift, especially in outrigger canoe paddling. He's a steersman, and he can see the ocean the way unlike many people, and so he can make a canoe.
He's got a sense for it. Very good. Now, I'm just curious, does your son use a Hawaiian sling when he spearfishes?
He started with that, but he's also an entrepreneur. He's been trading up all his equipment on Craigslist. So he gets a better spear gun for a cheap price and then sells it for more and gets the next better one. So
Keeps upgrading. Yeah. I always enjoyed the Hawaiian sling because the hunt was a little bit more exciting. You have to get a little bit closer and you have to be a little bit sneakier.
Well, he's bringing home some big fish, which I don't think you could get on a Hawaiian sling.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to commercial real estate for a second. And you've been doing this for a number of years. You probably know this market here better than, or as good as, if not better than anybody else in the marketplace. Where are we currently? I've been hearing about vacancy rates and high numbers, and we've had some challenges. I've heard that some of the rates outside of Honolulu proper is actually more expensive than downtown.
Well,
Honolulu,
that's just office space. If you look at office, retail, industrial, retail and industrial space, the vacancy across the across the state is, 1%, 2%, 3%. So very tight.
And some of that would just be normal turnover of tenants moving up and doing different things, right? I mean, that's.
Yeah, if you're a tenant looking for retail space or industrial space, it is tough to find, and it's expensive. Office space is a little bit different animal. When you think of Hawaii, we're really not a place where office tenancy is a main driver of our economy. So it's really a support function. And we are getting more and more efficient about how they use space. So we have probably more people in office space than ever before, and nothing's been built in 20 years almost. And, but they're using, as an aggregate, less square feet. So the vacancy rate's about 14%, and so office is...
What's causing that?
Well, in a nutshell, is fewer square feet per person. And the way people are achieving that is they're going from hard-walled offices to workstations to shared workstations. We put one tenant at one of our properties, Pacific Guardian Center, an engineering firm, which, as I remember, has a staff of something like 35 people, and they only built something like 22 workstations. And they're workstations, they aren't offices. So, 10 years ago, a 35-person firm occupied a lot more square footage than they do right now.
And so people are, I'll use the word right-sizing the firm to maybe reduce some of the costs, but is it because technology allows them to get as much done in a smaller footprint than before?
Yeah, I mean, all workers need, as we all know these days, is Wi-Fi and a work surface to put your notebook computer. You don't need, paper files anymore, or not many of them. So you need a smaller footprint, a mobile footprint. The computer rooms are not big anymore. Sometimes there are no computer rooms. It's all in the cloud.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting migration that's taken place. As a matter of fact, that allows a little bit more of a virtual office type of environment too. That's got to drive some of those numbers lower as well.
But I mean, I'm bullish on the commercial real estate sector, even office, which is really the laggard of the three different, if you add hotels and multifamily, the 5 different types of commercial real estate, because we're not building any more of it. It doesn't make economic sense to build more offices. The rents are too low. So we will slowly fill up what we have, and rents will eventually go up.
Well, especially if they're not building anymore. I mean, is there anything on the horizon of another building that's going to be coming up?
Nothing, no big downtown office building. I don't think we'll see one built in my career again. But pockets, like medical office, like Halepapa'a over by Kapiolani Women's and Medical Center, Women's and Children Medical Center, the proposed innovation block or innovation facilities in Kaka'ako, if they get built, but they will be relatively small and specialized.
Well, and I think also Kapolei, is building up, and there's more people working out there too.
Yeah, right now, in fact, right now, actually, we are working with a developer who's looking at a office project, developing an office project there that'll be office condos for sale, and because there's no vacancy out there. So if you want office space, you got to come downtown, or if you want to be in Kapolei, there's not many options.
Wow. I guess that just speaks to the point of how popular Kapolei has become over the last 10 or 20 years.
Well, there's certainly a lot of people living out there. They need places to work. We need to have them work out there, and fewer of them have to be on the road.
That's very good. Well, where do you think this is all headed, Jamie? I mean, how does this all play out for you and your firm, and where's the future in the next 4 or 5 years?
Well, I'm pretty bullish on Honolulu and Hawaii as a place, as an economy. So I'm positive there. I think that a number of things, that we have a quality of life that's not available really almost anywhere else on the planet. So people will still want to come here, wealthy people from around the planet. So the visitors will continue to come. We're a strategic location for our defense industry. And there's not a lot getting built. There's some retail getting built. That'll fill up. There's some industrial getting built, and hopefully we'll get this this office condo project built in Kapolei, fill that up. Our company, you know, we've grown organically like a typical Hawaii company from me 13 years ago to 12 or 13, yeah, 12 or 13 of us, or 10 or 11 or 12, something like that. Anyways, a dozen people. I see our property management division's growing. I think there's going to be a demand for what we deliver versus our competitors, which we're small and nimble and mobile and responsive to our clients.
Well, those are all the characteristics of a entrepreneurial small business that you have to have in order to be successful.
Yeah.
You got to be able to make the changes quickly in order to respond to the marketplace.
Yeah.
That's very good, and you feel you've done a pretty good job at that.
Apparently, yes. I mean, I now have two families. I've got my wife and 4 kids, or 2 kids and 3 cats, and in-laws and brother and all my in-laws, and then I've got my work family, which has grown, like I said, to a dozen people, and 5 years maybe we'll be double that or more. And
very good. Well, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of good times ahead.
yeah.
Very good. And any concerns? And I'll throw this one out. I've heard some rumblings that Kaka'ako seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the infrastructure doesn't seem to be maybe keeping up with it as much as it should. Or, you know, as a professional in that industry, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm really excited to see the success of the SALT project. That's Kamehameha Schools' commercial project where 680 is, and there's Starbucks and Sprint. And my hat's off to them for sort of seeding the area. And then you've got A&B Properties, the collection, 677 Ala Moana, tired-looking office building. They put in $14 million worth of renovation. That's actually on the market for sale. And Jabsum and the Cancer Center. I mean, there's all the beginnings of it. So I think Kaka'ako really is the next city, you know. I think it'll be a great place to be. I'm looking forward to being part of that somehow. And
to live and work there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another one of those balances that we're talking about. I mean, that would be a nice little contained area to have a family and a life and a career.
And surfing right there.
Yeah, you can almost carry your board over there.
You could. We walk over to Point Panic and Kewalo. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Well, you know, Jimmy, it's been great to have you on as a guest. We've only got a few seconds left, but is there any final words or any bit of advice you'd like to pass on?
Well, I just say that, you know, we hear a lot of bad press about Hawaii's business environment, and I think that maybe just if all you wanted to do was make money, that was your goal in life, Hawaii's not the place to be for that. But I think I'm here, you're here, all the people who are here are for something that's a bigger picture, which is having a career, having a family environment, which Hawaii, I don't think there's any place like this. Having the most ideal weather on the planet, clean air, clean water, friendly people, the true aloha spirit. So if that's part of the equation, then I think Hawaii should be at the top of the list for a place to do business.
To have that balance in life and career. That's a great closing thought to have. Thank you very much. This is Reg Baker, Business in Hawaii. We've run out of time. Please join us next week on Thursdays at 2 o'clock. I want to thank Jamie Brown for joining me today, and we had a really good conversation, and we had a great production staff here at ThinkTech Hawaii, and so thank you to them as well. So I'll see you next week, Thursday, 2 o'clock. Aloha.